Alrighty, hello mathematicians. Today's objective is on slope. So today's objective is students will be able to understand slope and calculate slope from a graph. So go ahead and get this down. Alrighty, let's first get the definition of slope. So here's what slope is. Slope. First of all, the variable that we always use to represent slope is a lowercase m. We will always use a lowercase m to represent slope. You have to memorize that. Okay, here's what slope is. It is the ratio. Okay, and in most cases, what we mean by ratio, remember ratios can be written as a fraction. Okay, so slope is the ratio or the fraction of the vertical, and let's above vertical, right, up and down. We got to remember that vertical means up and down. So the vertical rise to the horizontal. Okay, what does horizontal mean? Remember, horizontal means left and right. So it's the ratio of the vertical rise to the horizontal run. Okay. The other important thing, okay, that we're going to refer to slope later on, slope is actually another way to think about it is the rate of change. If you ever hear any words or phrases about the rate of change, it is referring to the slope. Okay. I'm going to give you a second to get that down. Again, whatever we have on our board, you should have on your paper. All right, let's talk a little bit more about in the context of real life. So we actually work with slope around us every single day. There are some other words that we can use to think about slope. Okay. One of the first words that comes to mind when I think about slope is the steepness of something. Okay, so how steep is something? If you've ever been sledding before, right? You can think about sledding. Would it be very fun to go sledding on a hill that is not very steep? No, it'd be boring, right? Because it's flat. You're not going to go very fast. It's much more fun to go sledding on something that has that's a steep hill, right? It has a steeper slope. It's steeper. Another word that we can use to represent slope is the pitch. Okay. When I did construction work, I used to always do measurements about the pitch of a roof. Okay. You have this roof right here, and then you have another roof. Which roof has a steeper pitch or a steeper slope? This one is clearly steeper. Okay, this one is steeper, this one right here. All right. Let's see. We already talked about rate of change. I think for right now, we'll just stick with these two other words, steepness and pitch, to think about slope. Okay, this is really important. We are going to use this throughout the entire unit. Okay, and that is this right here. M, which we should know by now is slope, okay, is equal to, and we already said this in the definition. Now we're just going to show it in math. The ratio or the fraction of the rise compared to the run. Okay. Now, we're going to learn this later on. We're going to see it. Rise we can find by finding the change in y. And the run we can find in the, let me redo that. The run is the, let me just erase that, change in x. Okay. And if you think about it, right, rise is up and down. Which axis is up and down? The y or the x? The y, right? So the rise is the same as the y-axis. The run is the same as the x-axis. And later on, we're going to find the change in y. And we should put a little note right here. Again, whenever you're taking notes, I just said it, that that triangle, it actually, what that triangle means is when you get to college, you're going to learn, or in stats senior year, it's called delta. And all that means is the change in. Okay? So it is the change in y. And again, we're going to go over this much more, but I want to show you this all together. To find the change in y, we're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I don't expect you to understand this formula, but I do want you to start memorizing that's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? All right, let's talk a little bit more about slope and positive slope. So let's start with a positive slope. Okay? To think about positive slope, let's think about, so I'm just going to draw a picture. So in your notes, this goes under the picture. Okay, if you have a coordinate plane, okay, if you just have a coordinate plane and you have a line, so here's your line right here. Okay, there's your line. All right, there are several ways, and again, this is a positive slope. There are several ways that we can think about this being a positive slope. Okay, I want you to draw this quick sketch and then put your pencil at the bottom of the line. So put your pencil right here at the bottom of this line. And then I want you to trace this line up. So if this is your pencil, trace it up. Now when you do that, is your pencil going to the right or to the left on the paper? So again, put your pencil at the bottom and trace it up. Is your pencil, look at my arrow, is it going to the right or to the left? And we should say, oh, it's going to the right. Okay? So if I put my pencil on the bottom of any line and trace it up and it's going to the right, I know that that is a positive slope. Okay. Another picture. I'm going to start over and erase this quickly. So let's do another picture of a positive slope. So again, this is my coordinate plane. And I have something that just looks like this. Okay, again, put your pencil at the bottom. Put your pencil at the bottom of that line. Okay, and trace it up. Is your pencil slowly going to the right or slowly going to the left? And the answer is it's slowly going to the right. So we know that, again, that's a positive slope. Okay, so that's your picture. Now, let's go to a negative slope. Okay, so negative slope. All right, so again, in the picture section of your notes, okay, I'm just going to draw a quick coordinate plane or Cartesian plane. Okay, and here's my first line. If it goes something like this, so this would be the line on the graph. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my pencil at the bottom of the line, okay, and then I'm going to trace it up. Again, start at the bottom, trace it up. Is your pencil going to the right or to the left? And the answer is it's going to the left. Okay, anytime we put our pencil at the bottom and trace a line up and it's going to the left, so for a negative slope, as we trace it up, it's going to the left, we know that that is a negative slope. Okay, so I could draw another line. If I have a second line right here that looks like this, okay, I'm going to do another arrow. Okay, I'm going to put my pencil at the bottom of the line and trace it up. All right, now my pencil looks like it's going kind of straight up, but it's also going a little bit to the left. And I know if I put my pencil at the bottom and trace it up and it's going to the left, I already determined that that is a negative slope. Okay, now, okay, what if I have a picture that looks something like this? Okay, so here's my coordinate plane. Again, put arrows at the end because it keeps going on forever. And my line looks something like this. Okay, now, whenever you see a line that's going straight up and down or straight left and right, I want you to think about sledding. And my question to you is, how much fun would this line be to go sledding on? So if you're a little guy sledding right here, trying to go sledding, how much fun would this be? this is how much fun it would be. 0 fun. Okay, it wouldn't be any fun at all. You're not going anywhere. All right, so a slope that is 0, okay, is, what's the name of a line that goes straight left and straight right? That is a horizontal line, okay? And this is a key point, okay? All horizontal, oops, let me go back on that. Let me erase that real quick. I'm getting sloppy. Okay, all horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Okay? And let's put in parentheses, no fun. They're not any fun to go sledding on. Alright, it's boring. Okay? Now, next to the word 0 in your notes, I also want you to write this, and we're going to get to why this is later. Okay? But if you have 0 over any number, okay, on your calculators, okay, do this. Do 0 divided by any 2 or 3 numbers. You can do 0 divided by 5, 0 divided by 52, 0 divided by 63. Doesn't matter. If you do that, you're always going to get 0. When 0 is on top of a fraction, you're always going to get 0. Okay? Let's go on to one more really quickly. And that is, alright, so the next picture, this picture you're going to draw for the undefined slope. Okay? Now, for this one, this is my Cartesian plane right here. Let's see if I can, let's change the color here quick. This is my line on my graph. Alright, and I ask you, what is the slope? Let me go back to black here. What is the slope of this line? Okay. Now, think about sledding on this line. Okay? Think about putting your sled at the top here and going over. What is going to happen? I'm going to draw a little person here. What is going to happen if you think you're going to go sledding off of this line? Here is what's going to happen. You're going to die. Okay? You're not going to go sledding off of a cliff, right? That's insane. You're going to die. Okay? When you have a vertical line. Okay, so vertical line. Okay? All vertical lines have a slope of what we say is undefined. And here's the way I think about this. Okay? If someone asks you, you went sledding, you're like, hey, how much fun was sledding today? Okay? Here's what's going to happen. You're going to die. You can't even define how much fun it's going to be because you are dead. You can't even tell your friend. You can't even define how much fun it was because you went straight off of a cliff. Okay? So, anytime you see a vertical line that is straight up and down, okay, if someone asks what's the slope of it, you know that the answer is undefined. Okay, so get this in your notes under undefined, that it's a, so the definition, the math, is it's a straight up and down line, okay, or a vertical line, okay, and the picture I want you guys to write this, that it's a vertical line, and what's going to happen if you go trying to sled off it? You're going to die. That's what's going to happen. So don't go sledding off of vertical lines, okay? All right. So let's talk now about, let's go on to the page. There they are. Okay. So in your next page of your notes, let's talk about kind of steepness of slopes. And you guys have a graph on your notes. I'm going to give you 2 lines, okay? This first line, just kind of start up here, doesn't have to be exact, and draw a line in your notes. Try to use a straight edge. I can't use a straight edge on my iPad here. That goes like this, and we're going to call this line A, okay? And then draw another line that goes about like this. and we're going to call this line B. Go ahead and get those two lines down. Again, they don't have to be exact, just close. All right, should have those down. Now, if I ask you on this, which line is steeper? Which line is steeper? Okay, well, think about sledding. Which one would be more fun to sled down? Keep in mind, this line A is really steep, but it's not a vertical one, so you're not going to die, so don't worry about that. Which line is steeper? Meaning, which line would you get going fastest on if you went sledding down it? And the answer to that one is clearly A, right? If you sledded down this one, you would get going extremely fast compared to line B. Okay? So I want you guys in your notes to write A is steeper. A is steeper. Okay? So in your notes, you guys also have a section that says something about the larger the slope. I want you guys in your notes to change that word slope. If you have slope in your notes, change it to the word number. Just write that above. Okay. The larger the number, the blank that you're going to fill in is the steeper. Okay, the steeper the slope of the line. Okay. We might say that this line A has a slope of like -8. Whereas this line B has a slope of, let's just say, +3. Okay. Do you notice if we're just talking about steepness, okay, if we're just talking about steepness, do we care about whether it's a positive or a negative slope? The answer is no, okay, because whenever we're talking about steepness, we just think about sledding. Okay, which one would you get going faster down? Clearly, A is a steeper slope than B. Okay. All right. Let's go on to another graph. So I'm going to erase this page and then come back and we'll do the next graph that you guys have in your notes. Okay, we're back and you guys have one more graph in your notes, and let's just draw a few more lines. So let's draw another line A. And again, it doesn't have to be exact, just get it close to my lines. Okay, and then this one, let's do line B that goes something like this. Okay. Again, I'm going to ask you guys, take a second, which line is steeper? Okay. They're close, but hopefully you said line A is steeper. It's just again, if you think about sledding, you're going to get going a little bit faster on line A than you would on line B. Now, another question I want to ask you, which line is the positive line? Which line is the positive slope? Okay, to do that, you should be putting your pencil at the bottom of each line, tracing it up and asking yourself, which way is my pencil going? Okay, if your pencil is going up and to the right, you know that is the positive slope. So if we look at this one, okay, this one is the line that as I put my pencil here and trace it up and to the right, that is the positive slope, again, because it's going to the right. Whereas this one, if I put my pencil at the bottom of the line, the lowest point, and trace it up, it's going up and to the left. So I know it's negative. Okay? So this one might have a slope of -4, whereas this one might have a slope of +7. But which one is steeper? Well, again, sign doesn't matter for steepness. We would still say that this one is steeper. So make sure that you get this down in your notes that line A in this case is steeper. Okay. Now, you guys should have some practice problems in your notes that say which line is the, so if I give you a bunch of lines, okay, something like this, something like that, it may ask you like which line is the largest positive slope. Okay, again, I'm just giving you another example. You guys can just watch this. Well, first of all, for positive slope, we should only be looking at the positive lines. Right now, there are two lines that are positive. I want you to make sure and point right now to the two positive lines just on your computer. Okay, you should have said these two are the two positive, because if you put your pencil at the bottom and trace them up, you're going to be going, your pencil's going to be going to the right. Okay, the two negative lines are these two. Okay, so again, my question was, which one has the largest positive slope? Okay, or the steepest positive slope? Okay, this line right here, again, we had two positive. This line right here is steeper than this line. Okay, so if I ask for the largest positive slope, we know it's got to be one of these two because they're the positive slopes. Which one is the largest or the steepest? We know that it would be this line right here. Okay, so now you guys have the information you need to think about slope, think about the steepness of a line, and make some comparisons between lines. The next video is going to focus on, okay, if I give you a line, can you guys calculate the slope from that line? And that will be the next lesson.